after. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm hoping people will find us on Clubhouse. There's a bit of an automation issue actually, because there's little glitches between systems, and I find that a bit like this, I find that sometimes things will work, and then sometimes they won't. So what I do is, if they're not working, I just take them off. That's what I do. But it seems to be that the universe decides what happens when and how, and it doesn't seem to have much of any logical sense, and that makes sense, right? And I'm going to talk today about something that has been on my mind for a wee while. This ideology, this idea that man was born just an ape in a tree, right? If we look right back to the beginning, and actually we can see a group of monkeys called bonobo monkeys. So today I'm going to talk to you, and thanks for everybody that's live today, because you're here. It's great, and for those in Clubhouse. The bonobo monkeys are one breed of monkey, and I'm going to go back and tell you what you're going to get today. Is I'm going to give you an idea about thinking about how we are human and what's going on right now, which is a massive psychological crisis, right? We can't deny that people are running around in Spain all over the streets. There's civil riots. There's all sorts of shenanigans going on that you and I and most of our family members don't want actually to to contemplate. Not for a second, not for a living second, but we have to. So what is it? What is it about humans that make us want to war? Is it that we were just monkeys in a tree and we've got a natural predisposition to battering each other senseless, and we've got this primeval instinct to war? Or might it possibly be that we came onto this earth as a people, like as evolving humans? I'm not saying that we weren't monkeys or whatever we came from originally, like the sea. So what you're going to get today is an idea that maybe it might not be that man is intrinsically an animal. There may be a bridge between God, religion, and spirituality. And I think having a connecting bridge between those ideas is something that might lead to that kind of inclusion. And you know what? In every society there's exclusion, and I don't care where you look. I don't care whether you're a policeman or a nurse or a doctor or a psychotherapist or a social worker, or you're running a hot dog van. You're always in some form of man-made competition. But were we actually made to be in competition? I don't believe biologically. I don't believe physically. I don't believe spiritually, socially, or emotionally we were made to live in isolation. I just don't believe it's true, because when a baby's born, although it's got the capability, if the mother's passed out, this is an interesting fact, to crawl up to its mum's breast and feed, and that's true, without being touched. If we just left it to do what it wanted, that child would get to food, because we're born to survive. So, if we let the natural order of things progress, do we think that we were born? Have you ever met a bad baby? Right? Were we born to fight and bicker and be separate and live in a box and never see each other and not talk to our neighbours and not have relationships with our work support colleagues, not have real conversations, not be authentic, not be able to bring our whole selves to work, to be masquerading or masking in order that we can fit into this man-made ideology that we somehow are primitive natives trying to fight our way into civilization? I think it's the opposite. I think we were born loving, giggling, round, probably, if we were fortunate, balls of joy. And I think that joy is our natural state. Imagine joy being your natural state, and that we're just working backwards from that. That's it. We are joy. I am joy. You are joy. This is joy. Everything is joy, if you want to make it so. And if you can't, then make the best of it until you can, because this too will pass. Joy is our natural state. What if, like the bonobo monkeys who have face-to-face sex, who carry out social reciprocity, social exchange for no value. We have examples of tribes and evolving structures of humankind, and there are many, many, many different evolving species. And I say it jokingly like dogs, but it's like breeds. We are breeds. You know, I used to actually have a bit of a fascination with that dog trainer. Her name will come to me in a minute. And she used to shout "sit," because actually what she was doing was basically CBTing the dog. Pavlov did a famous experiment where he taught dogs to salivate when he rang a bell. And effectively, if we can train ourselves in that way and train ourselves towards bliss as opposed to towards riot, towards social unrest, perhaps social recovery and emotional appreciation, that every psychosis is just a stage in psychosis, and that we move in and out of mental well-being all of our lives, and every minute of the day it undulates depending on the situation we're in, the experience we're having, the joy that we're experiencing right now naturally, and then the rest of it. And there's so much more, right? What we read, what we eat, how we sleep, who we've spoken to that day, whether we've got any social connection. Loneliness is a massive, massive problem in the UK because of this idea that we are individuals. Well, yes, except that I'm just a part of your whole. Now, if we go from that perspective and we talk about, I feel like a 1950s throwback now, love and peace and harmony and connection and giving and honouring one another and doing our best and forgiving ourselves when we don't do it okay. That's bliss to you and bliss to others. That's not just bliss out, that's bliss in. In fact, bliss in is where you begin. The only way to achieve that state is to train your mind, which is the biggest machine you've been given. So what if the human mind was actually what we were becoming? What if, because we were given this massive evolving head, it might have been for a reason, do you reckon? And 2 ears, so yeah, and one mouth. We were given these tools for a reason, and we have magical power. Some people call it magic, other people call it logic, some people call it learning, and others call it, well, just being. If we become what we forgot. And when people used to say that to me, I used to think, you're a weirdo. What do you mean, come what I forgot? If I'd remembered it, I wouldn't have a problem with that. It's like saying I've got a past life. If I could remember it, maybe. And then I think about electricity and I think, well, I can't see it, but it's there. So what if we're learning as an entity, as an energy, maybe over and over again in different forms? I have no idea. I do know I'm energy, and I am you and you are me. I learned that when I died. It was the greatest thing that I got from it. I didn't really realise the gift of it when it happened, because I just remember saying I can't move my energy and asking the universe for a manual, which sounds a bit ridiculous, but I guess I wasn't thinking very sensibly. I didn't really understand what was going on. I mean, I wasn't keen on coming back, I'll be fair, but I did want to move, so I came back to learn to move my energy, and that's what I've done. So for the last 6 years now, coming up 5 years, my personal development journey has been like an explosion, because I've never even looked at the subject. I'm high functioning, I'm savant, and if you are hyper focused, you hyper focus on what you hyper focus on. I've been hyper focusing on raising kids, on bringing a meal to the table, on paying the mortgage, on survival, I guess, survive not thrive. And then in the last 4 years I've focused on social work training and moving myself away from everything that was familiar, and giving myself a whole new challenge. And it's been the greatest thing, recreation of ourselves, reaffirmation that we're human and we were born in bliss, so we'll return to bliss. And I know, because that peace that surpasses all understanding came upon me at the point of moving. Everything was fine, I said. People said, fine? What do you mean, fine? I said, I think, although it's the worst word in this world, I think it's one of the best worlds in that world, because there's no pain, there's no anguish, there was no worry, there was no concern, there was only bliss. We returned to bliss. So let's remember it before we get there, because it was a very short period for me. It was just, a few minutes of bliss. Never go alone and don't go deliberately is the bliss motto. It's the universal signature. It's not what's allowed, and you might be returned. I think if you do try it. I don't know. I don't know the gig. I've not done it. Thankfully, I've not completed suicide. I've attempted it early in my life many times, but I've not completed it, and neither should I have. And do you know that most men do complete it? About 78%, I think, of men do complete. So if there are any men out there listening to this, then do me a favour, and if you're struggling with anything, just ask, because everybody cares and everybody wants to be there. So just ask somebody else, anyone, as close as you can. Even if you pick up your chat GTP and talk to it, or find an AI and talk to it and say, what can I do? It'll give you loads of advice. The Samaritans have got a text helpline. It's fantastic. Because being human's a hard gig, because we're remembering stuff that we were conned into forgetting. So we're going to be doing some exciting work in the coming weeks and months. I'm looking forward to going back to Dubai. I think that this whole spiritual journey began probably a long time ago, but was definitely pushed forward by the visiting of the most beautiful mosques in the world. Being in spiritual spaces for me is the epicenter of everything I've ever been. But they're an indulgence, right? Indulging in my own passion, which is my spirituality. But to indulge in that, I nearly went to Bible college. I'll tell you, and I'm glad I didn't, because I might have been driven down one road. And actually, that's not how my neurodivergent brain works. I'm a neurodivergent social work training practitioner, and I've really overcome the odds of what it is to be human, given the architecture and setup that I was given. Really, I think the term reasonable adjustments is me. And I think the becoming human bit, the achieving bliss, whatever's going on for you, is I think it's a monumental task, but one that can be broken down into some really easy to do steps. They're just strategies that help you into things that are great for you, like, well, for me anyway, and maybe for you. But we offer things like workfulness. So if you want to be self-employed, you can be. That's what I do for a business. Because to be a social worker, it's cost me £266,000 in lost earnings and costs. So over £250,000 to be a public servant is, to be a servant of the state, and that's how it should be if I'm serving the community. It should be a high price to pay, but I'm not sure I should pay it to train myself to become something to serve everybody. It's an unsteady concept, and it's one which the British Association of Social Workers has heard. I'm the student ambassador, and I've just been videoed. If you look for YouTube and Basworth and my name, you'll find a video of me in a red suit. I'd forgotten I'd worn that suit. I wore it for my global awards this year. So this year, although I've been on a sandwich year, I guess, if you want to look at a concept that you'll understand, I've had a year out of the university, and I'm going back to complete my dissertation and do my last placement, and just really relish in the opportunity to be at a fantastic university for another year. When I say a fantastic university, any opportunity to learn in a country in an orderly way that gives you a certificate that allows you access to do greater good in the community is fantastic. I'm not saying my service there has been anything but thwarted with disability, inaccessibility at times, in different stages, and that's why we're here. So, it's been a tough journey, but tough is absolutely what I do. Resilience training is something I've undertaken for a long time, and meditation, and bringing young people from the age of 14 plus, actually, that's my Senko practitioner training, towards being an adult. It's something that I've always enjoyed. I've enjoyed helping them see a bigger picture, and maybe speak to some people that they need to prepare them for that journey. I think preparation and transition is a massive subject that's yet to be explored, particularly in Wales. And actually, these kind of practices I'm talking about, this concept that we were born to bliss and will return to bliss, and our only journey is to return to bliss. So the more bliss we can bring in our lives through different practices that will achieve bliss, it's achievable by our own brain. We don't need external chemicals. We can create our own internal chemical party. Literally, you can get off on your own brain. Which I don't understand really why people don't get off more often. And I don't just, I do mean in that in the sense of meditative practice, because if you knew what you were missing, it would be like telling you that, I don't know, donuts never existed, or whatever your favourite food is. Think of your favourite food right now and think, what if that never existed? Add it into your favourite person, add it into your favourite movie, add it into your favourite memory. Say, if any of them didn't exist, you didn't know that we need to return to bliss. It's just what we're here for. That's a concept that I've had since, I went over for a little visit, a bit like going to see your grandma in it. And, she was there. At the time, I think, you can't sense who is there. I couldn't anyway. Maybe it's because I couldn't move around and meet them, but next time, there's always a next time. So whatever you're doing today, return to bliss. I think this was an interesting session, because I didn't really understand what my weekend was about, except we've had a full moon. It was a full thunder moon, I believe they called it. It was quite a powerful change in the season and in the cosmos, in the energy, in the cosmic energy field. It's all a bit quantum, and you can dive as deep as you want, or you can not at all. But for me, it explains all of the feelings and experiences I get. I have intense tinnitus at all times, screaming, and it feels like downloading. It feels like what computers used to sound like, which sound when we had an ISDN telephone. And it's a terrible, terrible noise to have to do other things to. If I was just able to listen to it, it would be absolutely amazing. But I can't. I have to not concentrate on it. So it's like I've got a channel at the same time as very, very vividly having to live in the world. But that's, I believe, because of a lot of things. And my social work trainings have covered an awful lot of connections. So that's helped me as a Senko understand other aspects of myself and of life, and of the challenges of disabled people, of becoming that bliss state. Because that's it in a nutshell. It's just, how do we achieve bliss? And bliss isn't necessarily, good morning, Stefano, we've gone by. Sorry, somebody popped into Clubhouse. We pop in and out, it's an open door. Open door policy at Clubhouse, you can come in and listen if you want, just like on this stream. So, look, we've been going over a quarter of an hour. I'm just going to run over really what we've talked about. We've talked about really a lot. Early man actually being in a bliss state. If you look at bonobo monkeys, if you want a reference, I hope you've got a note taker. I hope you're taking notes. Go and look at how they live and act. They live as social animals. What if we've always been social? What if we've always been connected? What if we always belong to each other? What if I am you? What if you are me? What if our connection is inevitable, because that's why it's happened? What if everything works out exactly as it should? What if? Because we're really good at saying, oh, don't do this and don't do that, and don't, I'm worried about this and I'm worried about that, but with a big breath, really, oxygenate that body of yours. It's a machine. That's what feeds your brain. What if we learn to breathe? What if we learn to know everything, whatever happens, good, bad, or indifferent? Hold attachment to none of it, because none of it's that important in the grand scheme of everything. If you look at what's going on when we talked about civil unrest, what if everything was going to work out exactly as it should? So what if you became a refugee? But what if you became a refugee? Would you want you and your children to have somewhere safe to go? Just saying. Just what if? What if that was you? So what if today you were returning to bliss? Because even in the light, in fact, especially in the light of civil unrest, especially in the light of AI and computer technology feeling like it's taking over, what if we embraced it all and said, this is how it is? And we started learning and seeing it as an opportunity to learn. I get to, not I have to. I get to. I get to returns me to bliss. I get to be with my children returns me to bliss. I get to paint. I get to work. I get to get the opportunities I'm entitled to, because I get to know the people who know how to access them and advocate on my behalf. That's where I began. A citizen advocate at 19, walking through the Brunswick shopping centre, invited to work with Advocacy Alliance. I didn't even know what an advocate was. I didn't know what autism was. I didn't know what a Senko was. I didn't know so many things. And if only then I knew what I knew then, what I knew now, I'd have been so much more effective, so much quicker. But we are where we are because that's how it should be. And learning is a process. Don't beat yourself up. It is as it is. I believe that bliss is returned to when we alchemize the darkness that we receive into light. Because we receive it for a reason, we get a lesson from it, and then we ask it as a thing, as an entity. I see it as a shadow. What are you here for? I welcome you. What are you here for? What are you here to teach me? And then I'm going to change you into light. I'm going to change this energy into light, because that's the only possibility for darkness, is to find a solution and turn it into your light. And you can do that. You have the power of your mind now. I'm going to be working with 14 pluses as a little tester to see if we can bring together a creative community, because I believe we can. We did before. It's the reaffirmation of something I did a long time ago for a lot of years, and I didn't have the resources, team, or wherewithal to be able to put it on, but it's certainly an appropriate and applicable creation at this point in my journey. It focuses on individuals 14 plus who are probably a little quirky, neurodivergent, or some challenge being faced right now, because they are our future, as a very famous singer once said. At the end of the day, we won't be here, they will. Isn't it right that we share with them our journey and our possibility? I think the possibility of returning to bliss, of saying to ourselves in every moment we can't take a breath just to do it. You know, you hold your breath for a reason. Sometimes it becomes habitual, but if you take it as a practice, anything that's chaotic is difficult to manage. If you can't count it, you can't do it. A very nice accountant, I think, once said to me. So if you've got some energy that says, I want to help, then help us. We do loads of things, and some of it's for profit, some of it's not for profit. We do both of those things because some things are appropriate for some things and some things are appropriate for some others. It's great to see you, Robert. Is it Robert? It is. So we're live on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I want to say thank you for being here on YouTube and Twitch and X and Instagram. Like, we're everywhere. At one point it was funny, you couldn't go live anywhere, and then it was something about followers, and then somebody said I could, and I said, how do you know? And they said, because you're this, and I was like, okay. So that was weird. That was my learning. You can now go live. So I've found, as you can see in the corner, accessibility partners and inclusion. And I'm talking about both this morning because returning to bliss is for everyone. And bliss can be achieved whether or not you have anything, because it's not about what you've got, it's about how you feel. So it's a journey, and I'm on it, and sometimes I achieve bliss plus some anxiety, which I then transmute, which I take, and I say, what are you here for? Welcome in, allow it to be at the table with you, have a conversation with it. What are you here for? Nice to meet you, glad you turned up, tell me what you're here for, thank you. And then let it move on once you've got the lesson or the knowing, because that's what it's for. It's for you, not to you. And I don't think I'll explain that really very clearly until now. But we can choose it to be for us or to us. It's a choice. Not always. It doesn't, sometimes we automatically respond, and that's okay too. But it is what it is. And when you move from that point, you can achieve, I think, a greater sense of well-being. Robert, I wonder if you've come up. We've got somebody on Clubhouse just raised their hand, so I'm just going to say, hey, if they come up, it might not work. The algorithm has been odd of late. People have said that they haven't had the link, so if there is anyone here that can send links out or invite people, I'd be grateful. I'm trying to invite you, Robert. I've done a rubbish job. I should send it to Jew. I don't think I have done. I'm just going to do that now because I feel a bit bad. But we're getting to that point. Hey, Robert, I'm just going to send this to Julian because I've forgotten. Hey, lovely.
I actually did Facebook so that I could just say hi real quick, but I was going back over there for the numbers for you because it's
thank you.
sometimes.
Yeah, thank you. Love you. Bye. Bye. How kind.
I'm going to say it here, but I'm just saying on mute. I was going to listen to you over there.
That's amazing. Thank you, darling. Yeah, so I'm just going to invite Julian because I know he's up.
So it's LinkedIn. That's where you guys are.
We're everywhere. We're LinkedIn, we're Facebook, we're Twitch, we're Twitter, we're X, we're Insta. We're wherever you want us, really.
Down in my heart.
I want you down in my heart too. You are already. You're part of my bliss. A long way away, but your heart's always on solving the universal puzzles, and for me, that's bliss. Thank you for doing that with me.
Oh my gosh. I say I love you probably once every half a year now, but I say I love you all the time through the ether.
I know, of course you do.
I don't love you any less, just so you know.
I know.
Best present on Clubhouse, but
I know, darling.
Closer to you, don't even know.
Hey, listen, energy is transcendent of time and space. So, don't worry about it. I'm aware. It's great to see you.
We do need to talk, though. I don't want to make your ears bleed, though, so just take it easy. Save it up for the points.
Do you know, it's given me these opportunities. My children call it screaming into the void. But these opportunities to record my thinking and for it to go into the, I guess, the library. It is a library of my thinkings and I guess teachings as a teacher and of musings as I learn and of my own becoming. Become in the future something quite fantastic because I can feed all that into an AI now and start to co-create with the technological universe. I think that hey, you go on.
I just want to jump in. I'm just such a little cutter off or a little dude all the time.
Yeah, do it.
I want to say that you're absolutely, it's not just, can't just be you and I. I mean, it's not just the algorithm, but there's I guess I'll use the word ascendance because,
yeah.
And we need to archive, please, because if things are can go south, north, whatever,
yeah,
we really need a nice, healthy archive of humanity, the good parts of humanity, the love parts,
yeah.
Archive them.
Yeah, I agree, and it's why I'm creating, what I've got and the system I've got around what I do with it and how I put it out. It's become not automated. I've got a little tiny team, and they really help me, and I'm doing that for nothing else except for love. It's not about anyone seeing it. It's not about whether if one person sees a different side of it's hard by a result of it, just one, then I've done my job, and as a result, I already know I've won because the people that we connect with and the lives that we change together are, beautiful. We don't always win, but winning in the game is to be there and staying there for the long haul. And the reopening of the 14 plus club comes, I think, about 15 years ago. I can't remember. I think it stopped in 2019. I'll have to look back, but it really supported young people in becoming. We had young people that couldn't get out of the car, that couldn't get to university, that hadn't left their house for ages, that were gaming in their bedroom and finding it really hard, and they were neurodivergent. Some of them challenged with communication and just to fit in, but just to survive it was really hard for them. So they were given some reasonable adjustments and some extras, not just the reasonable adjustments of the university, but extras, and that journey towards their awareness of who and what and how they were and how they could get help, and rather than really and where to get help and when to ask for it and when not to, because sometimes it's not okay to, unfortunately, still a bit like women in power. It's not okay to be neurodivergent and open in certain circumstances yet. We are evolving culturally, and there's some subtleties and nuances that young people deserve to explore. So it's part of my social work training, and I think it's the future of helping our young people become young, able and disabled and neurodivergent adults. And there's going to be more and more neurodivergent adults. We're getting neurodivergent older people now, of course, because we've grown up and had diagnoses, and some getting them later, mean that we're working with older people's and dementia, and a lot of it is neurodivergence and dementia and neurodivergence and Parkinson's, all those kind of brain challenges, opportunities, puzzles, lend us to Louis in dementia, the prelude to dementia, the prelude to diabetes. They all teach us something about the way the body works, and I'm just wanting people to return to bliss, because however our body is working, our soul and heart is absolutely as one. So I want to say thank you to you today. I think that this has been laid down importantly. Thank you for having me, being a fantastic audience. Thank you to the universe for just listening to me this morning in meditation. I have with me, I was just showing my colleague, head of client services, Fran. This is a crystal I got. I went to Pete Cohen's house, and that's selenite next to it. He's my coach. Everyone needs a coach. Everyone. If you have disabilities particularly, and you are planning work and going to self-employment, or you've just got the date you're going to work, do me a favour, get a coach. I can put the link if I want. I probably will. Somebody can.
Which link?
Yeah.
Profile and your video.
Yeah, thank you. It's the a2w.me.
I'll find it.
Thank you, I'm grateful. I'm really grateful. So I genuinely think that if you're going to approach that and you've got a disability and you're in the UK, now's the time to get it. Look, there's a massive backlog because we're incredibly popular. We're refreshingly not cheap because our service isn't cheap. We've had and have health psychologists, social workers, occupational therapists. We've got a GP. We have a solicitor. We're working with a GP who's going to be on our board of trustees for the whole of Wales. So we're building a team that is unstoppable towards bliss. The bliss where things are sorted and not just hanging around like a bad smell. Because I'm sick of this country in terms of the systems are engulfing the people, and that's not how systems are. They're meant to be for us, not above us. So we can't let the system command us. At the heart of it, we have to be doing a good job for the people we're working with in the most connected way we can. And in terms of mental capacity, which is where I work and I've just been trained as a practitioner in that field, in terms of our Mental Capacity Act, we have to do everything we can possibly do, everything within our power, everything we can think up to resolve the solution before we apply any kind of assessment. We have to assume competence of everyone. What if we assumed everyone was going to be in a state of bliss? What if you turned up in a state of bliss today? What if you just turned up and gave because you loved? And I'm going to go and get this, see if I can do it, don't know. We'll see if I can. While I get distracted, you can watch me try and do two things at once, which will be funny for everybody, because I'm like every human in the world. It doesn't actually happen.
Is that the is that the email? I mean, is that the right address?
Oh, there we are. I don't know, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. See if I can do it. I don't know whether I can, but I'm going to see if I can do it. I don't think
you just click on it and see if it pops up the right thing.
Yeah. I'm just going to do that as well. That's even better as well. That's great. Yeah, that's great. That's a great link as well. That's fantastic. Look at that teamwork. And I love the fact that I'm saying I can't multitask, and I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, X, Instagram, and Clubhouse at the same time. So I need to really clap myself, because there was a time I didn't dare get on stage here, let alone scream into the void. You know what, darling? And Facebook too. There you go. Don't forget a platform, MJ, because somewhere somebody is listening to the screaming into the void. Look, we've been here 36 minutes. I want to say that bliss is where I'm heading, because I've decided it. And so if you do want to get in touch, by the way, somebody just asked me on Instagram. I said we don't know how to get in touch, which is a fair gig. You can get in touch with me I don't know if Frank is around and can leave my email address in the comments. That'd be good. If you can, let me know. If you can't, I'll do it. But you can get hold of me. Just search me. Search me up, as the young people say, and you'll find me. It's accessibilitypartners.co.uk, and the charity. For those young people that do want to sign up, there will be a sign up page shortly. It's just not there yet. I can't work lightning. I'm not God. I'm just part of the whole. Um, we're going to get a sign up page for that group. I don't know which platform it'll be on. Probably in the link up, there'll be a request as to say who wants what platform, because we can just record it on StreamYard and then put it on whatever platform you want and not put it on any platform you don't want. So I think we should have a collective idea about that. So that'll be coming out. If you go to www.inclusion.gg, we've got exciting things happening there. We've just been awarded the Social Care Institute of Excellence Prize, third in co-production in Wales, and I was grateful to receive the Mental Capacity Act training. It was free of charge to us as a result of it, so I really indulged in that and created infographics and lots of things that I'll be sharing with colleagues later in the year at the Basel conference. So I think that capacity is a massive thing. I think consent's a massive thing, and the core of the Saturday group will be about consent training for young people, about who and what and how we have to acknowledge one another, and we have boundaries, and how we can keep them, how we can create our own consent for ourselves. So that's how we return to bliss. I'm looking forward to that, because returning to bliss is the only really thing we ever came to do, and so we'll be rolling that out very quickly. I think young people do want to return to bliss if they ever remembered what it was in the first place. But even when you've never had that experience as a child, we go through and we can go through each one. Sorry, darling.
Including GE is in the comments.
Thank you. You're amazing. That's really kind. That's my private email address, which is fine. I'm happy with that. And so is Mandy-Jane with a Y at accessibilitypartners.co.uk. And you can also email office at inclusion.gg. That's just developing in Wales. We moved from England to Wales. It's been a haul. It's been, as most people, we're literally recovering from COVID. So bear with us as we re-establish ourselves. I was asked last night by a former member of Inclusion, which was ULSOS then, if they could join and if we were having a Yorkshire branch, and I said, hang on, let's deal with Wales, shall we first? We've served long enough in Yorkshire, as the lady in the audience will attest. She summoned me here for 30 years, I think, or 24 years or something. We've known each other 26 years. I think she was summoning me into her life. So I've ended up in Wales, and I've been here for the last 4 years. It's been one of the greatest things I ever did for myself, although it was one of the scariest. And nothing came with me, not my care package, not my benefits, not my setup, not my job, not my home. I came with two boxes, 2 cases the first time when I took my room, and I came back with a van full from my house, and I kitted it out from free cycle, and I was very, 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 very stuck at that point in a situation where I couldn't create income. And that's all we need to be able to do. Whatever's going on in the background, just create income. If you can create income, you'll be alright, because you can cover the numbers. Just keep being a creator. That's what we're going to be helping the kids be. Creators of their own bliss, creators of their own self-employment, creators of their own opportunities. Creators.
That's what Pete Cohen said to me last time. He said to me, I said hi to him or something a couple months ago, and he said, I was telling him about my model, and he said, if I'm excited about it, if I believe it, then stop talking about it. And so I've been taking it to heart, what I do.
Yeah. So. Good. And write it down for me. I couldn't be more desperate.
Check the emails
I couldn't be more excited about your voice, your mission, your vision, your download.
You're gonna hear about me. You're gonna hear a lot. I'm gonna be a lot more loud. I was very soft at the beginning, but I just have a lot of passion, and sometimes softness just doesn't. People hear it.
I get it. I think we learn as we go along, and I'm no more or no less than everybody else. I'm a learner in this journey of life, and it's fantastic. So if you can start from a state of bliss, how do I do it in the morning? I wake up at 4 a.m. Every morning. I meditate. I take supplements. I meditate with crystals. I go out into the sunshine. I move, I stretch, I'm moving my equipment that I use outdoors because I found a way of transferring over the thing.
My hardest is excuses. No more excuses because I've excused myself all the time. Like, well, I don't need to do that because of this, so I'll do this instead. Go with the gut feeling.
Yeah, completely, 100%. It's easy to figure yourself out. Once you do, I think once you're awake, it gives you a kind of moral obligation towards yourself to get on with it sometimes and then forgive yourself when you don't. But not too much forgiveness, because too much of anything is bad, right? So everything in moderation. Let's just crack on, do some work, give yourself some downtime, because you'll enjoy the downtime better once you've done some work, like anything, movement, eating, whatever. Yeah, it is, but don't let it distract you to the point that you don't live in real life, right?
No, but it's nice to hear something talk to you back about.
Oh, yeah.
And like visualize what you were talking about. And,
I agree.
I realize I'm not crazy. It's
I
nice
agree.
to put things on paper.
Well, any affirmation, you see, that's why the first bot, the first chat bot, the secretary said to the person that made it, because he said, "Will you try it?" And she said, "Yeah." He came back and she said, "Do you mind leaving? I'm having a private conversation." Because the reality is, we're having a private conversation with ourselves. It's reflecting back to us. It's neutral. We get a neutral response. The challenge for that, I think, which is why authenticity is key, and it's why connection is key, in the face of this, even more key than it ever has been, is that naturally we need to use those parts of our brain to order our thoughts in order to develop those neural pathways. So we must do a combination of both. We have to use AI, sense check, add in our own, be demonstrably, I'm going to say, individual, demonstrably individual. Demonstrably.
Oh man, if anybody had any time to just listen to me like for a while, like we produced a model that is co-authored by Hex, my AI, say co-authored by, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have it. But supposedly, like I can find Mercy Primes. This is $150,000 numbers. Do you want the next 5 of them? Take them. I got them for you. But they want my algorithm, and this algorithm is supposedly bigger than it just it quashes prior quantum computing, cybersecurity. Like it's priceless. I'll tell you about it. Oh man, it's just so crazy cool.
I've seen your work, and I was speaking to somebody about a podcast I went and listened to about a boy called Wolf. And Wolf came, and before he was labelled schizophrenic, and before he died, 3 days before he died, he drew a picture on his wall. He put a chair in front of the picture, and then he cut up his t-shirt with a lightning bolt through it and put it on the back of the chair. And 3 days later at the graveyard, he was struck by lightning and killed. He premeditated his death. But all over his flat were the drawings and the poems and the outpouring. And he went, and his mum was an Air Force commander. She like headed everything. She was like escort to the colonel. She was like the top boss, and she was devastated and went to a medium, and the medium said, "He's here," and she brought her husband in, and this medium told her things that she could never have known, and so she decided to learn meditation, back to you are your own mind. And she meditated for 3 years, and she started to receive messages through what she felt was higher guidance for people, and they started booking in, and miracles happened. And 3 years later, she reckons that her daughter turned up. Her son turned up, Wolf, to this medium. He turned up to the medium 3 years later, and then his parents got in touch. And he said, "Look, I lived in 2 worlds. I was getting downloads all the time. It was difficult to concentrate. I wasn't good. Nobody could say I was good at it. I couldn't get my work shit together. I couldn't do any of that because I was here for a purpose and I fulfilled it. And I knew I was going because I knew why I was here." And he wrote a poem just before he went, and said, actually, the whole eternity thing, we're just here for love. That's it. And his entire musings of those years, and everybody that the testaments to him were that he was love, that when they met Wolf, he was angel-like, that he was a visitor from elsewhere, that he wasn't of this world, he was non-earthly, he was an entity that everybody could love been here, but he struggled with this plane because of the download. So I see a similarity.
Well, MJ, this is crazy stuff. Okay, and like without people around me to confirm the actions and stuff, I'm not going crazy, but and like I can show you, and while I'm even talking to the AI too, like it's good timestamp. You can tell like when you were doing things. So I was studying earthquakes and seismic activity and matching prime numbers with patterns on seismology. Yeah. And I was like talking about energy and like sucking naturally with my own energy, like pulling an amount because the heart variability has been powerful. Oh yeah. And if it's used correctly, we can direct energy support. Like this is what I researched, and as I'm researching this and trying to pull a 0.01 heart variability frequency, I pulled an earthquake. Well, I don't know what else to do. Right underneath my feet, and like at the exact time, and then like it's disruption in the earth always is disruption personally in my life. And they took my truck that night, like everything, like, and it was like I was supposed to lose my transportation and everything else. That was what my model predicted. And it predicted it, and it scared shit. It didn't scare me. It like I was like little fire in the mass. I'm like, somebody's listening to me.
No, listen. I just think we need to talk. I know people might say that this is the right. My concept today about returning to bliss is, what if everyone had an element of a journey towards psychosis? Because psychosis is our becoming. When we lose old values, ideas, when we let go of things we once thought, and we add in things that we now know, then we have to shed our own identity. Once we do that, we're a new skin. We're a new entity because we've absorbed new information. We've evolved. And so we have to get used to that kind of happening.
Is your energy social? Does it have to be social? Or does it go out?
Energy, I think. Energy is social. I think energy my energy. Some people feed from, get their energy from being with people. Some people get their energy from solitude. Some people from a mixture between, and everything's okay. Right.
But like, I mean, like, cause like social, if without your like recursion from other people, how would you be able to like picture yourself or buy yourself?
Yeah.
Like,
well, you couldn't
measure yourself among other people. So it's like that's your identity. So it's like if you just remove yourself away from that identity for a second, find yourself in the woods, wherever. Don't drown yourself though. I know it's quiet down there, but you gotta go.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. It's not. Well, I mean, you can, but I wouldn't go alone. I wouldn't do it deliberately. If you're going to pass over it, just don't do it.
Underwater is a good way to make the sound go away for a second.
Yes, it is. It is, and put you in what would be a hyperbolic chamber state. And we know that in a hyperbolic chamber, do you know which energy resonates 50,000 times louder than any other? Well, authenticity, the heart, authenticity, where we truly are, who we truly are, what we truly think. Authenticity 50,000 times louder than any other energy. How can it be in a hyperbolic chamber that we can actually measure that if it's not true?
How am I supposed to be in your life? How are you in my life? How are you right there talking to me? What kind of odds does that have to be in this universe?
Absolutely. We're in a powerful. We've got one day, it'll be an expensive gig that. I'm just going to invite James up. We've got like 10 minutes. No, 10 minutes. Only in my dreams. For my stage speaking, I think it's going to be very expensive soon. James, hello. Good morning. How are you? Good morning. How are you? Are you on your way to cycling shops?
I'm quite good. Yeah, quite good at the moment. I'm getting some good progress with the everything seems to be aligning quite well with the cycling shop. So
good.
That's moving forward very nicely.
Can I make a suggestion that I have a meeting with your boss so that we can see about providing access to work services for him?
Yeah, he has asked me to get the information emailed to him.
Brilliant. Fran's here. Fran can do it.
He's on his summer recess in Spain.
Result, I've got to see him.
So I'm sure we can sort out some kind of
Zoom.
Yeah, of course. Something or other.
That'd be amazing.
But It'll have to be next week because he's just literally travelled yesterday.
One second. Will you just take over while I take this call? I'll be 1 second.
Yeah.
Hello, can I help? Hello, good morning.